So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I built a coffee table with DIY welded metal legs. First, I need some coffee. Now enjoy this B-roll of the coffee table I built, and then let's jump into the build part of the video, which is really why you're here. So for the first steps of this coffee table build, I decided I was going to make metal legs. We're going to use our horizontal bandsaw and set it to a 45-degree angle, cut out all of our pieces. This is truly a set it and forget it kind of saw. Clamp your piece, turn it on, and let it go, and it'll do all the work for you. It's really that easy. As the bandsaw is done cutting each piece, I'm going to bring them over to the belt sander and deburr each of the pieces for the coffee table legs. The purpose of deburring is so you have a nice tight joint for your welds. Welding is the next step in building these legs.
Roll it.
It's very rare that I have any extra help in the shop. Today I brought my boys, and they helped a little bit. Combining metal and wood has started to become more of a staple in all my woodworking projects. I wouldn't call myself a welder by any stretch of the word, but it is very exciting for me to weld. It's different from woodworking, so it allows me to express my creativity in a whole new way. So we're gonna clamp all of our pieces together, and we're gonna add some tack welds. The purpose of the tack welds is to hold all of your pieces together without deforming any pieces. When you weld, welding creates heat, which deforms the metal, which could give you all sorts of crazy shapes that you don't want.
Looks crazy, huh?
Again, I'm not a welder, but I have had problems with welding. If you don't let your pieces cool, they start to deform and misshape, and you're gonna end up with a warped set of legs. And then you're probably gonna have more of a rocking chair than a coffee table. So once you're done welding, keep it clamped in place until it's cooled down, and everything will stay nice and square.
Inside corners.
Not being a welder, I'm not very fond of doing inside corners. There's really no easy way to clean it up. So whatever that weld looks like is pretty much how that weld's gonna stay. So I'm using these magnets to hold all my pieces together while I make the welds. Without these magnets, I would have to make sure that everything was square the old-fashioned way. Once all the welding's been complete and it's cooled down, we're gonna go back with our flap wheel and we're gonna grind down all of our welds.
When you just weld it, it looks kind of like this. It's all big and wormy, and then you grind it down and make it smooth. Now it looks good.
We're gonna repeat the process on both sides of the legs. Now that the legs are finished, we're gonna take them out back and we're gonna put on the final touches. A nice coat of black spray paint.
I have wood all over my house, so we're gonna get a piece from the attic today.
My boys are always curious about what's up in the attic of the garage. Today's the day they get to find out. Well, this piece of wood is clearly way too big for a coffee table, so we're gonna cut it in half and make it a little bit more manageable.
This is a piece of spalted maple from my grandpa's house. He's got a sawmill at his home, and he cut this up at his house probably like 10 years ago now. It's been in the attic for a while. So first, we're just gonna cut it to kind of a length. We're gonna pick a spot. We'll save that side for a different build, and we'll put some bow ties in it and stuff, and that'll be kind of fun.
I've always enjoyed making coffee tables with the live edge style. It's just very minimal and modern, and it fits in a lot of spaces.
So we're gonna make this table 4 foot long. That side looks really crooked right now to me. Very, very crooked. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set this one. We're gonna draw a line. This is my router planer. I haven't used it in a long time. Again, this is like, oh. I built this thing, I don't even know, man, this is old. But we're gonna use it, and it's gonna work just fine. All these tools are super old and they don't look good, but as long as you know kind of what you're doing, it's all gonna work just fine in the end. So we're gonna set up our tracks, and then we gotta make it so it doesn't wiggle.
Once our piece has been cut to size, we're gonna set up our router planer, and the first step of that is to attach our rails. My router planer is set up with some unistrut as the rails. This is about as DIY as you can get. So once your rails have been attached, you wanna test it out and make sure that your sled slides all the way across the rails without touching your workpiece.
And it can't wiggle like this. You wanna make sure that that's flat.
To ensure that this piece stays flat, we're gonna add some shims and screws to hold it in place.
Now the piece has no wiggle, and it's stuck. And that's what you want. The stuff moves, man. It's dangerous. Dude, I'm pretty sure these two pieces are pieces off of my son's crib that I built for him when he was a baby. Repurpose everything. We're using a new router bit today. I'm excited. I've never used this bit. It's brand new. So these ones, you can rotate the blades and you can reuse them. And you can't take too much off each pass, because if you take too much, then the router will bog. And
if you want to continue to see more build videos just like this one, hit that like button. Now let me get back to the exciting part of flattening this piece of wood.
it's messy.
I'm not overly concerned with flattening the bottom all the way. As long as the legs sit flat, that's really all that matters.
Let's look at this piece. So that's the bottom. We're not gonna worry about that yet. Well, this is a problem.
So while flattening this board out, knot seems to have fallen out. This gives me the perfect opportunity to put a nice butterfly patch in. So before we do our patch, we're gonna sand the whole piece down to 120 grit.
Whoa, I gotta get a mask. It's so dusty.
From my experience, getting to 120 grit allows you to start seeing any imperfections that you wanna fix before you get into your finish sanding.
While flattening this knot fell out, so we're gonna do a butterfly patch. So essentially what you're gonna do is we're gonna carve this out, and then we're gonna put a piece of wood over it, so it's not a hole. It'll be a different piece of wood, but you know, it just won't be a hole.
I don't get to do butterfly patches very often, so when the opportunity arises to do something that's a little more challenging, it's very exciting for me. With the hole all carved out, we're gonna go back and we're gonna put a bevel on all the sides of our patch. This is gonna make it so that when we hammer the piece down, it's gonna squeeze into the sides and make a nice tight fit.
So see how it doesn't fit perfect right now. But now what we're gonna do to make it fit really good is we're gonna take this sander. Now it's gonna fit. Just drop it in place.
Once the patch has been hammered in place, we're gonna sand it down smooth and then continue our finish sanding of the whole piece. Some woodworkers take this time to zone out, listen to music, listen to their favorite podcasts, and they just plain old enjoy their time sanding. I am not one of those people, but I have learned throughout the years of my woodworking that sanding will turn this good project into a great one.
A lot of people think when they see a bunch of old beat up wood that it's trash because it's gross and it's covered in nasty. But if you just clean it up, it looks beautiful again. We're gonna put the legs on just to see what it looks like.
So now we're gonna do a test fit. We're gonna drill some holes in the legs so we can mount it to the top.
The sides aren't straight, obviously. It's all tree shape, I don't know. But if you measure off the edges, then you can make sure that they're straight with the table.
There are plenty of different ways that you can mount legs to a table. I went this route because it's just quick, it's easy, and it's simple, and it does work. Before applying a finish to any of the projects that I'm working on, I like to take some compressed air and blow off all the remaining.
Dust is not your friend. Oh, Dusty. So when you're doing a finish, you want to have as clean of an area as you can. Clearly, it's not very clean in here right now, but it will still work. But dust gets into your finish, which creates not smooth surface, and it gets all bumpy, and then you have to sand it off, and then you got to do it again. You want to have as clean of an area as you can before you put your finish on.
A rectangular coffee table might not fit your style. If that's the case, you could try and make a circular coffee table with one of these 3 DIY circle cutting jigs I've made. Watch that video here. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next build.